Alright, welcome everybody. So, this is the Pinball Post. So, this week in this show, really, the whole point of the show, I'll get out before I start with the shout outs and everything to the people in the chat. Thank you for being here right away. That's awesome. Didn't expect that, to be honest. So, I expected to be pretty quiet to start. So, the purpose for this show is going to be Digital Pinball. We're going to stay focused on Digital Pinball, what things are going on this week, what things are going on in the future week. The games we're playing, the things that we're doing, whether it's VR, VPX, Flipper Friends, the IFPA ratings, Zen Pinball Bites, we're going to cover it all here. So, really awesome. I hope that you guys can stick it out and we can really have some fun here. So let's start in the chat here. The Beamy, thanks for being here. Papa Brad's Gaming, always a good supporter. Pinball Wizard, you've been in my Discord hyping it up as well. All good stuff. Mad Ben Han, Dr. Torque, good to see you again. Cornercade, let's freaking go! I love it. So I don't have my Taco Bell Cornercade, but I do have my electrolytes, so I'm good there. Meatball Saucy, watched the live stream. Damn, you're good at pinball, man. I appreciate that. I did pretty good this morning. I had some good games. They're not always good games. My pinball can be pretty sketchy at times, but it is what it is. So, but it was good stuff, man. Leon, welcome to the channel as well, man. All right. So first of all, we're going to start with a little bit of news on the 4K P releases. Boy, I wish I knew those, Dr. Torque. We're going to see next Thursday, 31st, Zen Pinball releases is going to be coming, so we're going to a lot to talk about. So, all right, let's start off with the games we're playing this week. We're going to switch over to my typical stream live cam real quick. So right here, we started out with Bone Busters. Now this one I did a whole video on today. This upper right flipper in the upper right hand corner here, I was having all kinds of trouble figuring out how to actuate that sucker, and I come to find out it's actually a lot easier than I thought. If you hit the both of the nudge buttons together at the same time, it actually actuates that flipper one way or the other. But it does cost you a nudge to do that. In fact, 2 nudges. So if you miss, do not do it again. You'll kill your ball. You'll tilt. But what I did figure out is if you can actually separate the flippers in your settings. So if you watch that video, you certainly figure that out. You can actually use your weight flippers buttons for separate flippers for things like Black Hole, Haunted House, Bone Busters in this case. So, and then you have to use your D-pad for your nudging. So that's a thing. I don't know. What are your guys' thoughts on this game? Is anybody... T-Grass, T-Bay, Wingo, welcome to the channel, man. Bone Busters, this is a tough game. It's really tough to see. I didn't rate this one very high because of the, it's very tough to make out what's in the foreground and what's in the background. But it's a okay game. I'm starting to get to it a little bit better. It is pretty tricky. Once I figured out that flipper, you can start to kind of divert the ball down a little bit. So there's some stuff there, but next up on the HD side, we had Shack and Pop. We all know this one's broken. This is really disappointing. The fact I feel like we just played this on the 4K side not too long ago. We're doing it again, so we'll see. I'm disappointed in this one. As you know, the drop targets in the upper right, again, they don't work. They will stop coming up, and it kind of kills the scores. So it is what it is on that. Next one up is Earth, Wind, and Fire. Again, an HD title. This one's pretty fun. So if you guys have been seeing this one, what are you guys' thoughts on it? Sounds like somebody's getting a 4KP, so that's awesome. We've seen a lot of people get 4KPs lately. That's what actually prompted me to, and Gong Ryan, he was in my stream a couple weeks ago, which prompted me to do that video about all the packs and what ones to buy in 2025. So if you've recently got a 4KP and you're looking to buy some packs, definitely check out the video. I don't want to hype my videos the entire time in here, but there's a lot of good stuff that I've done for new people to the ecosystem, and I think you'll really like it. Earth, Wind, and Fire. This one I keep calling it Teemo Harry Potter, or Teemu Harry Potter. It's just, this is the 4KP's version of Harry Potter that Jersey Jack just came out with in the real pins. It's nowhere near as good, but it is pretty good. You can get some free extra balls pretty easily in this one, so it's a good table. So yeah, Dennis, welcome to the streams, man. There's Gong. How's that so, man? You heard your name. You did, man. You inspired me to do that video, so I had to call you out again, man. It was awesome. Tomato Grass, I see in there too, man. Next one, Green Eggs and Ham. I think we played this one earlier today. This one, I'm not great at this table, but for me, it's all about the multi-ball. The modes are really tough to get with that flipper shot, so it is what it is. Some of you guys really like these Dr. Seuss tables. I think they're pretty good, and if you're playing them for modes and you just want to kind of grind and have some fun there's some pretty good stuff though. But they're tough games. So this one's gonna cause some stir after the lovely Magic Castle Retro of last week that we played. Everybody grumbled about that one. Papa Brad, you did not, however. You had a wonderful score on that. 7,500 points, and he easily beat me to 10th place because of it. So this is another kind of a stinker. This ball goes right straight down the middle on this sucker. And I know Tomato Grass, you mentioned in this one that you can use the outer flippers and just keep pushing it up those rollovers and get some points that way. So kind of crappy. I wish they wouldn't push this stuff, but it is what it is. Again, this is on the HD side only. Jurassic Park, this is a good one. We played this one earlier today. I had a pretty good score on this one. There's some mega scores out there on this one. Get the Chaos multi-ball, get your Stampede multi-ball. Some good stuff on this one. I think, we got the real John Williams music on this now, so we're all happy about that. Yeah, we got Harry Potter at home, exactly. We totally do. Nature's Fury. I mean, everybody. I really haven't heard any negative thoughts about Nature's Fury other than glitches. We all talk about the glitches on this one. It's a real shame. We really need to see some patches on this stuff, and that's something that we're really, really ashamed of right now. Really disappointing. I've had a glitch on here that actually helped my score. I was in a multi-ball. One of the balls got locked under the table, and you could actually hear it spinning. And I wasn't able to reset the ball because I was in the middle of a multi-ball. That ball died out. I reset the ball and it replunged. So I'm like, well, crap, man. That kind of sucked. It was in my benefit in that case, but a lot of times it's not. I had lava actually capture a ball and pull it under the playfield before, so that's been a glitch. I've had a glitch where the lightning storm in the first mode will shock the ball in the plunger and kill it, so it won't come out. I know there's been a lot of glitches, and I've seen glitches in this one too where it just shuts out the game, knocks you right out completely. So it definitely happens. But I don't know anybody who really hates this table. It's buggy, but at least it's fun. Yeah, you're absolutely right, Papa Brad. One Fish, Two Fish, HD side. This one again, I know we played this one a few weeks ago on the 4K side. Seems to be a little bit of a cycle there going on. We on the 4K side are on Season 5. The HD folks are on Season 4. I wonder if that has something to do with it. They're trying to get everybody to play kind of the same games here and there with a little bit of deviation. If you're looking at both of them, you're going to see some wrap over. But Sorcerer's Lair, I think this one I had a pretty good game on this one earlier today. This one's pretty fun. It's all about the multi-ball. There's 3 different multi-balls you can play pretty easily. Citadel, Sorcerer's Rage, Enraged, and the kind of the gargoyle one underneath the crossing shot. This is a really fun table. Beautiful. I know Chalada Love and I talked about this earlier today. I haven't seen him in the chat yet, but that the colors really pop on this one. The purples and the yellows look really, really good. Really cool table. This gives me a lot of hope for Circus Voltaire, which I'm hoping is coming soon. The neon on that table is going to look fantastic. So, Black Screen of Death lovers to happen when you're in a cool hour of game. Yeah, no kidding. And Tomato Grass, you know all about that. Playing a game for a long time and then having that thing just die on you. It's terrible. So, yeah, Sorcerer's Lair is a good table. Sound effects kit's really good on this one. It kind of just got released, I think, in November and just kind of got pushed under the rug. This one and Wild West Rampage, people just kind of forgot about it. It's pretty shocking. And then the rest of these are just ones that I have in my hopper all the time. So I happened to stop on Arabian Nights. I want to hype up Tomato Grass's show, The Wizard Room, on Monday night. 7:30 Eastern time. I'm going to be a guest on his show again this week, along with, I believe it was Skulljo and Chalada Love. We're going to be going over wizard modes and wizard modes for some of our favorite tables. Mine is going to be Totan, or also known as Tales of Arabian Nights. The I beat the wizard mode on this probably a month ago on stream, and I was so pumped. It was amazing. So we're going to talk a little bit about that, and we're going to have the beloved 3-screen play of 3 wizards playing amazing wizard mode. So hopefully that you can check that out as well. All right. Oh, and while I have it up, Adam's Family. Papa Brad actually did Retro Legends this week. One of his tables this week for big scores for his drawing is Adam's Family. So if you want to play Adam's Family and post to his iScored, definitely do that. I put a score up. I did it via VR, which you can see behind me. I did that via VR. So I got to get that posted. It's not a top score, but it's on there. And it plays a little bit different than the 4K. The physics are a little different. The 4K, you can capture the ball coming out of the electric chair directly on the left flipper. You cannot do that in VR. So that's a discussion point. Physics is something I look at very closely from version to version to version. So far, I've noticed that the Switch versions have been almost on point, identical with the 4KP, but that's not always the case. There's a few games, especially Adam's Family, Twilight Zone, and some of the bigger titles, that have a little bit different physics than even in the Switch version. So just something to point out. Definitely continue to see that stuff. Okay, next up. You like both versions of Adam's Family. Yeah, I haven't found a version of Adam's Family I don't like. They're all fantastic. I did play Twilight Zone today too in VR. And man, they play so smooth. Adam's Family is the same way. They play so smooth in VR. I don't know, this just feels really, really good. So next up, we're going to check out, let's go to this here. So we're going to talk a little bit about the Flipper Friends leaderboards. Now this is the PhilPal leaderboard that you see from Mike DG. I think most of us here already know about this. If you don't already, it's a fantastic tool that allows you to select the different tournaments that are currently active. Here is the HD one, which I've posted a couple scores in. For some reason, I can't get my 1Fish, 2Fish license to work on my micro. It's back there. I played that earlier today for a couple of these games. Jack and Pop, it was broken, so I quickly finished that game. I don't own Earth, Wind, and Fire on the HD side, unfortunately. So what do you guys think of this week's tournament games? Are they pretty good? Do you like them? I know there's been a lot of talk about Flipper Friends becoming stale. I know I've mentioned it. There's certainly some stuff going on there that it feels like we've been playing a lot of the same games, a lot of retro tables that really haven't been good. But the real key point to some of this stuff has really been the broken games. It feels like we're getting a lot of broken games, quite frankly. We had 911 not too long ago with some scoring bugs. We've seen Wipeout with some scoring bugs. Bone Busters, the flipper thing, yes, it works. I found out it works, but it feels like, man, is it broken or is it just bad? Yeah, I don't know. It's something to definitely discuss. This selection of tables, I thought this week I got, 4 or 5. I think Bone Busters is pretty crappy, but that's just my take. I know Mad Ben Han has said he likes it quite a bit. It's a broken mess, and it looks like it's on Windows XP. Yeah. The biggest thing I don't like about Bone Busters really is the fact that you really can't see any definition from the front to the back on the table. It's a really tough sledding when you're looking at that table. Ironically, if you look at the table real quickly, I'll jump back to it real quick here. If you look in the bottom left-hand corner, you'll notice there's a schematic of the table. I think this is pretty funny. Look right here. And it shows you the actual table, which I always thought was kind of funny. It allows you to see what the actual table looks like. So anyway, I just thought it was really funny that it did that. So one thing I do need to fix. Why is the chat not showing up in here? So, all right, let's make sure that we get this in here. Sorry about that, guys. I got missing something here that I want to have. You gotta have this in here. So, there we go. All right. Next up, let's go to. I want to talk a little bit about the IFPA ratings. So we've had all kinds of issues with IFPA ratings lately, and to me, this is really a frustrating thing. So IFPA ratings here on the IFPA website. If you go to @games, you go to virtual World Pinball Players Rankings, something along there. All right, these suckers, they say they've been updated as of July 27th. I think we all know that that is not true at all. Ray Delatorre, welcome to the stream, man, and you don't like them either. Yeah, man, it's... First, these rankings, they're clearly being updated on the IFPA side, but I can tell you that they're clearly not getting the data that they want from @games. So I don't know what the problem is here, but these things have not been updated in forever. I know from my own personal experience, here I'm at 26th with 452 points, or 452. This thing has not changed in a long time. So I don't know. I know everybody else is starting to talk more and more about it. This was supposed to be one of the new features that we got when we switched over to the IFPA, and it was a big deal. I want to say it was June 14th that they start this, a little over a month ago. Maybe a little earlier than that, but for whatever reason, it has not gone over well. It says it most recently updated on June 12th. See, I don't even see that. If I look here, if I look at mine, I try to, yeah, it says June 12th here. I don't know, man. There's times when I feel like it updates, but I haven't seen my points change. I personally have been in the top 15 basically every week in the last, I don't know, maybe month or so, 6 weeks or so, and it doesn't seem to move. So now I know it needs a lot of points to change that, right? For example, if I was to pass BG's, I would have to score a lot more points than he does, and he's on the HD side. So there's that issue of how does that look, how does that work. Yeah, there's some frustration there for sure. It went from Papa Brad, you went from 8th to 15th, and it never changed. I was 6th place. And I've had some good finishes too, man, and it just doesn't seem to update. So definitely something to be concerned about. If this is going to be the driving feature for @games to get you to play their games, they're failing in that regard right now. I think we all know it. We all see it. They're forcing us to play all 5 games, which has been quite a bit of a grind. So, pulling all the stops out to push us to VPX. It's a good conversation, Wingo, because there's a lot more people getting into the beta. I know Chalada Love just got into it recently. I know Skull Joe's been kind of playing it again. There's definitely been some talk about that, and if they were ever to get VPX to start having some online tournaments in some way, shape, or form, it'd be real tough. Be real tough. Never gonna catch Mad Ben Han. You, me both, Leon. You, me both, man. The points up here. There's a definite drop off from the first 5 or 6 here to everybody else. So it's really fantastic to see. But there has been some new people really flying up the boards too. You have Chalada Love here at 19th. It's been really nice to see. He's been screaming up the boards. So there's some good stuff there too. House of Hounds is he was jumping up quite a bit and then just kind of fell off the map. So hopefully we'll see him again soon. So yeah, that's a discussion point that we definitely need to talk about. Next up, let's talk a little bit about Pinball Bites. So Pinball Bites is coming up.
Pinball Bites on the 21st
Well, watch
of July,
this.
as we will talk about
New Williams tables,
Pinball FX features,
new Williams tables,
new features for VR,
new Williams tables,
exclusive reveal trailers,
and new Williams tables.
I mean, who isn't excited about that, right? Right? Williams, yeah, Williams games. You know, Leon, was it? No, it was VPN Addict Spiegel actually sent me a video from about 8 months ago where Shut Your Trap actually did a interview with Mel from Zen Studios, and he talks a lot about the ecosystem and different things that have happened. About pinball and where it was heading. This was before Zen Pinball World came out on mobile. It was before the VR released. I think it was May when Pinball VR released. It was awesome. So what he was talking about there had some really good insights, and I was really happy to see some of the stuff that he talked about. He said, plain as day, June, Tomb Raider, that new release that they were talking about at the time, he didn't say Tomb Raider, obviously, but the new release was going to be day and date at games with at games VR across the board. And what did it happen? It happened exactly like he said it. Tomb Raider came out day and date, first game for at games, VR, all 9 platforms across the board. That was fantastic. If you're worried about at games, Dr. Torque, I don't think I'm worried about them yet. I think when you hear that interview with Zen Studios, he was very happy with the sales with at games, and I think they can power this system along. I think all it would take at games to do right now is to release a Star Wars skin or another Zen skin, and boom, people are going to buy them up again. So it's just a matter, even at the high price of obviously the tariff pricing is a concern. And there's also great competition. I'm pointing at the X Arcade, but I'm really pointing at the MetaQuest 3 and the VR. VR is a lot cheaper option right now for playing virtual pinball. Whether or not you have an X Arcade or not, it doesn't really matter. You can play with the MetaQuest 3 really easily and have a really good experience. The problem is going to be the games. Do they keep coming out with a good length of games? Do they keep kicking them out in pretty good order? I think they do. I really think they do. I'm willing to bet that the next release, now we're going to hear about it next Thursday. I'm expecting them to drop 6 more tables. I think they're going to talk about the 3, but I think they're going to drop another package of 6 on us for VR. I'm hoping that's the case. I also think, and I could be completely wrong about this, but I think they're right now they're realigning stuff with VR and at games together. Obviously, at games has been around longer, and you have more tables on the 4KP currently. But what I think is going to happen is they're going to start to realign those, and they're going to have, every time you see a release for the 4KP, you're going to have it released for VR. That's what I think they're going to probably do. I hope that's the case. That would mean, so what that would mean to me is that they're going to drop games like, they're going to drop Toe Tag. They're going to drop, we already got Theater of Magic, and we've got Safecracker and some of those. There's a couple that aren't on the VR right now. VR is a bigger user base. But is that true, Papa Brad? It probably is. I mean, VR is huge. I don't know that Pinball FX itself is a bigger user base, but VR itself certainly is. That's a gutsy call with 6. I think 6 because I think they're going to try to catch up to the 4KP. I think they want to release Pinbot. I'm hoping that the other 2... I don't think they're going to release next Thursday, by the way. That's, I think there's been a lot of hope that Pinbot's going to drop at the other 2 tables next Thursday. I don't think that's going to be the case. I think they're going to announce the 2 other tables, and then they'll release maybe a month from Thursday, is what I'm thinking. They're going to tell us it's done, and then it's going to release. If they release the same day or within a week, I'd be shocked. Maybe a week. But man, that would be fantastic. I'm not a big fan of Pinbot. A lot of people are. I know Nick's Reviews is a huge fan of Pinbot. It's a fantastic game that he really likes. I know a lot of you like it. Bride of Pinbot's already on Pinball FX and stuff like that. So they're available. They're there. I don't know. We'll see what we see. But it's really going to be interesting to see what comes out for it. I think VR is going to be taking its place alongside the 4KP. But I will say, man, when I step up to this cabinet today, and I could sit there and I could play Totan, get through the wizard mode, and my stepson could walk in the door and he could stand next to me and he could see me playing and really enjoy it with us side by side. There's really something to that. There's something tangible to it. Obviously, the haptics kit really makes a big difference. At one point today, he said he thought he heard that there was heard thunder and lightning. In fact, I was just playing Nature's Fury. And so our dog was freaking out, and because of the depth of the sound effects kit, just the fact that I was playing that and you could hear the lightning strikes and hear the thunder and the bumping of the sound, and it just had amazing stuff. So I love it, man. You'll love Pinbot when you get it on the 4KP. Yeah, dude, man, I don't know, man. I've played that game so many times.
to me, that left, it's just hitting that left shot again and again and again. Left shot, left shot, left shot. Like, it so much reminds me of Party Zone, and I kind of like Party Zone for that reason. Party Zone is just kind of a simple game. It kills you a lot, but it's a game that you can kick it on. You got 2 or 3 shots you got to hit. You can practice those. You get warmed up, and then you can move on to something else. So it's a tough one, man. I think it's going to be really interesting to see what goes on with that. Man, I don't know. VR has been interesting, but I think for the most part, there's some interesting stuff there that we really need to talk about. That just like, is it going to continue to be the thing, or is it going to be something that just continues to do its thing? You know, is it going to be side by side? Are people going to flock from one to the other if the 4KP continues to struggle with things like the IFPA ratings? Are people going to get sick of flipper friends? Are they going to start to flock to the VR? Or being that the price is pretty much the same across the board, I haven't really seen the VR pricing any more expensive. So that has been a real concern for me, that I wondered if that would make a big difference or not, and it really hasn't. So it's been interesting to me. You know, does that become... It's amazing to think about whether or not that's a thing. And no, I'm actually looking at the Pinball Bites YouTube page here, and there's actually 3 people waiting. There's actually 3 people waiting right now for Thursday for that to show up. Now, one of them's me, but there's at least 2 other people looking at that channel thinking, what's going on there? So it's interesting that there's definitely interest there. I know we're all excited for it. So what do you guys think? Is there particular tables that you want to see come out with Pinbot? I know there's been rumors of Diner. I've just recently played Diner and tried it out. Do people say, oh, cool, when they see my VR headset? Actually, no. More times than not, it causes kind of a fight. They're like, oh, so what you doing? They walk up behind you and they're like, what you doing? I can't see what you're doing. They can hear the game, but they can't see it. So a lot of times I'll take the headset off and I'll say, hey, you gotta try this. They put it on and they play it. And I'm walking them up to the X Arcade, right? So they're coming up here and they're being able to use physical buttons. They're not using the controllers from the MetaQuest 3, and they still just... Most people, the random casual that my wife or my stepson would be, they don't tend to like VR. So, but for whatever reason, they step up to the 4KP, and it's just natural, and it fits. High Speed would be a good one. Bonsai Run is a really interesting one. In the interview, and when I heard them talking about backglass integration, it was one of the topics that they brought up. Shut Your Trap actually put his feet to the fire and said, hey, what are you going to do with tables that have backglasses? And Mel said, I'm not a tech expert, but it should be represented in the proper way. So what does that mean? Well, what does it mean currently on the 4KP? So Sorcerer's Lair and Wild West Rampage both have, and South Park Butters, they all have alternate playfields that should be on the back glass, in my opinion, that end up on the playfield, right? I'm hoping that Safecracker was delayed for that, but we don't know. We really don't know. We know it's possible. A lot of the Gottlieb tables from Farsight Studios actually have backglass stuff. They are working. They are doing stuff. Obviously, we've seen VPX. We can do all kinds of pup packs and everything like that. So that's stuff to see. Space Shuttle, I still think is happening. Ray, I think that's a really good one. I really think that one's going to come. It's kind of a sleeper hit. The more I play that, the more I like it. Bonsai Run, I would love if that had the back glass, and that's maybe why Circus Voltaire is another one. The back glass on Circus Voltaire is kind of silly. You don't actually play it. You just kind of hit the flippers and the cannon shoots, but there's really not much going on. High Speed would be a good one. I would love to see that. It's kind of an older school table. They tend to stick in the same theme when they come out with tables. You notice when they did Black Knight 2000, they did Earthshaker, and they did Banzai Run all together. Or Black Knight 2000, Earthshaker, and Banzai Run all together. Those are all kind of the same year. So it wouldn't shock me at all if they did Space Shuttle, Pinbot, and maybe Diner. That would be, or maybe Mousing Around. I know that's another one that people have talked about. Any Williams tables are cool. Yeah, we all have our favorites. You're absolutely right. A Brad Williams table. Come on, man. That would have to be a Pinball M. And Mel did talk about Pinball M tables quite a bit too. And he did say that there was some tables that, first of all, he said that he doesn't have to go looking for licenses. So that to me is huge. Like, as a Zen Pinball in the studio for Embracer, he said that he does not have to go looking for licenses. So licenses are coming to him to make pinball games. Now that is a fantastic thing. He still is holding out hope that they would get Alien back. I know a lot of people you like Alien from Pinball FX3. I still think, based on the interview, that he's going to make that happen. I still think Bethesda sold really well, he said, and Alien sold really well. I still think those are going to come back. I would love to see that. I saw a rumor that one table would be a cat themed, but I don't know where it started. Ooh, man, Wingo, you got my heart in a flutter, dude. I want Bad Cats. If you've played VPX and you've played Bad Cats, I won't pull it up here now today, but Bad Cats is one that I absolutely love. That would be an option, unless you're talking about Mousing Around, which is a yellow one that I know people talked about too. Elton John's Pinball today. Oh, dude, that's a great table. That's a Steve Ritchie table too. Black Knight 2000, Black Knight creator. He made that table, and I absolutely love that table. Fantastic table. Elvira is one that he did mention. In the interview, he did mention Terminator 2. He mentioned Judge Dredd. He mentioned Starship Troopers as one of his favorites that he would love to see come to Zen. I am completely on board. I love a lot of those Sega titles. Starship Troopers, Independence Day, Twister. Some of those are going to be really tough IPs to get, but they're kind of dead IPs, so why not, right? Is Terminator 2 Williams? Yes, it is. And so the sticking point for that is the Arnold Schwarzenegger license, because you're going to have to pay him directly. So that is going to be the holdup on that. And he also talked about, one of the big things he talked about too is the Gottlieb license. We've talked a lot about Bone Busters. We've talked a lot about 911, Wipeout, and some of the Gottlieb licenses. He mentioned that he would really like Magic Pixel to pick up the Gottlieb license, that Zen had been approached about it, and that they kind of said it wasn't right for them at the time being. And if all of their manpower, all 75 people of them at their studio, this is as of 8 months ago, was making Williams tables or Zen originals, which apparently are half as much to cost to make and half as much time to make, because they're not waiting on approvals for things. So all of those factors have something to do with that. Stern owns the Sega license. Yeah, see, that's going to be tough, man. Golly, that sucks. Thanks for that information, Meatball. I tell you what, that's a struggle, man, because if Stern has it, that means that you're going to have a lot harder time getting it. I would love to see, there's a lot of potential in the Gottlieb tables, though. There's a lot of potential there. I would love to see those suckers revived and fixed up and cleaned up and put back on the 4KP. And I think if Magic Pixel does them, guess who benefits from that? The HD folks, because the HD would be now capable of running some of the Gottlieb tables in a higher resolution, a higher physics engine. That would be fantastic. Yeah, I did not know that either, Ray, that Stern owns the Sega license. It's disappointing, but it's also kind of good in a way. It means that there's potential out there for them to do something with that. Now, even a lot of the Sega licenses, though, are tied to movies. So you got Apollo 13, Independence Day, Starship Troopers. There's a lot of tables there, a lot of IPs to deal with. So there's some concern there, but man, I tell you, did you mod your 4K or did I mod my 4K at all? I have not. The only thing I did is flipper mods. I haven't changed the exciters or anything yet. Would we be expected to buy them again? Yes. Unfortunately, Wingo, yes. Bad Cats does have a cool back glass. Yeah, you mentioned Elvira. I mentioned it briefly, but Elvira is one that I think they would do. I think it would be a Pinball M table. I would love to see it. I think if they do it, it'll be a twin pack. You know what? Probably not. Now that I think about it, when he mentioned in the interview, Indiana Jones was the game that he felt like if they could get that one out, that they could get anything. So to me, that gives me a lot of hope that Terminator 2 could in fact come to the 4KP, and it could by means of Zen Studios. I think that that's going to happen. It's going to be a $15 title, maybe $20 at this point. But I absolutely believe that Terminator 2 will be coming at some point to Zen. I just feel like that's going to happen. You know, does Arnold Schwarzenegger have to die for that to happen? I hope not. We've had some terrible deaths this week between Theo Huxtable and Hulk Hogan and Ozzy Osbourne. Man, we've had quite the week as far as that goes. But Gary Stern bought Sega Pinball and renamed it to Stern Pinball. You're absolutely right. Now that I think about that, I think you're right. Didn't he have something to do? Didn't Data East get pulled into that too somehow? Or was it Data East or no? Yeah, Data East, right? I think I'm thinking of that right. Elvira's a twin pack, sure. Now Pinball Wizard, don't do that in this stream. Come on, man. Keep it clean. You know, Elvira is pretty tame by today's standards, so it's kind of funny that people make that out to be such a big thing. But Elvira, Scared Stiff, Party Monsters would be some fantastic tables. I could see them being a twin pack, maybe something that comes out during Halloween. If that doesn't come out, then, you know, for VR, you got to figure it's going to be the Monster Pack, right? They're going to probably hang on to that till October. They'll drop a Creature from the Black Lagoon and Monster Bash together. They'll release them for $15, and they'll be on VR. That would be a perfect time. He mentioned from the interview 8 months ago that they missed out on releasing that in the October last year, and it really hurt them. So maybe that's a perfect opportunity to wait and do it this year for VR. So that would be interesting to see. Data East became Sega. Okay, that's what I thought. I knew there was some test or some tie in there. Thanks for that, Leon. So there was something there for sure. But licensing is pretty tough. And you know, this Pinball Bites is going to be a big one. I'm hoping that they get a Switch 2 patch. If you bought a Switch 2, you probably know and love it. It is a fantastic system. Everything runs better on it. I mostly play pinball, so it doesn't really matter. But I will say Donkey Kong is freaking awesome. That's the only mention I'll make of gaming on this pinball channel. But Donkey Kong Bonanza is really good. Elvira would be a standalone release. You're probably right. Even if they couldn't do Party Monsters, I would be fine with that. Scared Stiff's going to be the top one, right? You got to get Scared Stiff. That's the one everybody wants. I love House of Horrors, the new one. But again, that's tied up to a Stern license, so it's not going to happen. We know that's not going to happen. At least not yet. Now I will say this: if you had said a little over a year ago, would At Games ever get Zen? Would anybody have said that would happen? I certainly didn't. Did anybody think that? The day that happened, I about did cartwheels in a Target. Okay? I was shopping with my wife that day in Target. We don't go to Target very often, but for whatever reason, we were in Target. And I seen it pop up on my Twitter stream. I think it was X at that time, I guess. But it popped up and said Zen Studios aligned with @Games, and I'm like, are you kidding me? I guess it's been a couple years now, maybe. Yeah, it would have had to been, because it took me a year. So it took me a year to get my 4KP from its original release. So yeah, it's been almost 2 years now. If you had went back to yourself and said, is that going to happen? You would have said no way. So to say that Stern would never be part of Zen, who knows, man? It's all money. It's all money. And if Stern did allow digital recreations of their titles, you got to believe that they would charge some money for those. $20 a table, I would do it. $20 a table. If I could play Black Knight Sword of Rage, I'd pay a very large sum of money, quite frankly, for that one in particular. But that's one of my favorite titles. But it is what it is, man. Golly, Terminator 2 has made its way to free streaming services, so maybe they'll grab an offer. That's a good point, Wingo. Meatball Saucy's in the chat. I just went to a 3D movie viewing of Terminator 2 last week from the MetaQuest 3. That was fantastic. Meatball, thank you for the invite, by the way. If you were not in my Discord, consider joining. Over here, let's see, it's over there. There's my Discord. If you're interested, you can jump in. We talk about this stuff all the time. But he actually invited me to a 3D movie theater, big picture VR. We watched Terminator 2. That was fantastic. So you had Michael B there, and you had quite a few different people. James Hits Everything. You had all kinds of different people from the community all there. So it was really cool. Best thing that's happened to the 4KP. You're not wrong, Dr. Torque. You're not wrong. As good as the Magic Pixel tables are, and as much as I love them, there's no question that the Zen relationship with @Games has made this system so much better, top to bottom. The fact that the Wizard room is going to happen on Monday and talk about Wizard tables, and they're almost always talking about the Williams tables for that reason. Not only because of the delays, we've had a lot of delays, which is something we can get into from Magic Pixel. Not only Magic Pixel, but Zen. Like I said, I think Zen's realigning with VR. I'm hoping that's the case, and that's the holdup, and that they're going to realign, and then they're going to start dropping them left and right. The problem with the Magic Pixel ones, I'm not so sure about that one. The Wildlands Firefighter Smoke Jumper release that came out, we've seen the video for it. It looks fantastic. I am really super excited for that one, to be honest. We'll jump over to it real quick and just see what we got here. Let's do... Nope, not that one. All right, so this one here. So here's the... And while we're talking about it, here's the winners from this week for the 4K. If anybody's in the chat here, I don't know. I don't think anybody from here is in the chat, but nope. We talked a little bit about this one, but yeah, this table here. This is pretty cool, folks. Let's listen in. This is supposed to be coming last week. It did not. Yeah, but this is a beautiful table. And I love first of all, the music. The music sounds great. Look at the fireball going around the orbits and stuff, the dynamic lighting. It looks fantastic. Really awesome. So the helicopter flying around, you got the fire truck on the bottom right there. $8 on the 4KP, $6 on the HD. This is going to be a really good table. I really have a good feeling about this one. This one feels a lot like a natural history pack type of game, and I think this one's going to be a really good seller. I think it looks really good. I think it's going to play really good. In Mox's Discord, a few of them are winners in there. Oh, that's cool. Awesome. So that was good to see. A lot of those names I wasn't familiar with. You don't see them in the chat and stuff a lot of times, but every once in a while I get FOMO for these originals. Yeah, so there's some really good ones here, man. If you're not playing some of these @Games original ones, there's some really good ones. Natural History is a perfect example. Maybe you play on Zachariah Pinball on Steam. You have access to a lot of these things, but @Games originals you don't get. So you don't get Natural History. You didn't get the Taito packs. You didn't get the Dr. Seuss games. there's a lot of tables there you didn't get, even in Zachariah Pinball. Even though they're making them under the Magic Pixel name, they're not coming to Zachariah Pinball. So, it is what it is. At least the best Magic Pixel tables are on the 4KP. Yes, that's true for them. That's true. They want to be able to provide those tables to their fans to be able to play. So this is one I'm really excited about. This 2 days ago we were supposed to get Supersonic Deluxe. That was a real favorite of mine. With the fighter jet theme and all of that. So that's a really good one. It's just tough with those floaty physics. You know, Ray, it's kind of disappointing to hear that because when the Magic Pixel tables open up the bottom half of the playfield, I think that they are so much better than they are early on. So if we look, I'm going to click on this in the middle here. And this table I think is going to be a lot better for that because of the open playfield. So you'll notice here, this bottom half of this playfield, hopefully you can see my cursor here, the bottom half of this playfield is completely wide open. Most of the Magic Pixel tables that we've had problems with, physics-wise, have been really crowded. If you look at Deep Ocean, if you look at a lot of the Dr. Seuss games, they have, the playfield is very low. The drop targets are pushed down to the bottom third of the table, and it just makes it really crowded. Then those physics really take over. People, I think, really like Sea of Thieves, except when you start talking about the Megalodon and the chests that pop up in the water. Those couple of things destroy that game for a lot of people. Tomato Grass being one of them. You really can't stand that. If you play the games on Steam or even Steam VR in Zachariah Pinball, I think that the physics play a lot better there for some reason. So there's definitely some physics changes. I actually talked to Mart in his Discord, in the Zachariah Discord, about physics between the 4KP and on Steam, and he confessed that they are in fact different. That is by design, which leads me to believe that there is some hardware difference in the 4KP that doesn't allow for the full physics engine to take place. So that is really disappointing to me. Zen also mentioned that when they brought the games over to the 4KP originally, and they had all that lag, that they had to completely rebuild the tables in a Linux-based format so that they would run properly on the 4KP. So there's got to be some type of conversion in the code or something that makes them not play very well on the 4KP. Obviously, they're able to keep the resolution. The resolution's been very tight, very good. The FPS is good, but the physics engine, there must be something in there that does not allow for that. So it is interesting to see. I don't play much pinball on my Mac, but I swear the Magic Pixel tables are more accurate on Steam. And yes, I just said that, the same thing. I totally agree. They are different on Steam. If you play them on Steam, you're like, man, they just feel better. They just feel so much better. And I'm not really sure why. It's interesting, to be honest. But that is that's an actual thing. So it's interesting to say that because they are different, and we don't have a real good explanation for that, to be honest. I would love to see that. I would love to see another interview with Mel to discuss some of those issues, and just see what he thinks about that. What things have been changed, what things are better. Obviously, the tables play really well. I think Tales of Arabian Nights and Theater of Magic, if anything, have really shown how good some of those Zen tables have been as of late. I think the sound effects kit is getting better. I think they're getting better by integrating that. They did a really good job with Adam's Family to make Twilight Zone. But if you play like Wild West Rampage, that one's kind of cruddy. You know, there's some ones that don't really translate all that well. Is Zen different on the 4K than the FX? Yes. Physics-wise, yes, they are, Leon. They are very different. If you play on the 4KP, the ball is heavier. And you'll notice that you can capture a ball a lot easier on Creature from the Black Lagoon. It's really easy on Creature from the Black Lagoon. The ball's very heavy. Adam's Family is another one that I mentioned that the ball's quite heavy on. there is some definitely physics changes between the FX and the VR, or FX for Steam and FX for the 4KP. And then if you look at the VR side, they're much more akin to the Steam releases or the console releases. Switch excluded. Now, Switch 1 had lesser hardware, and it could not do what the Pinball FX did on PS5, PS4, Xbox, Series X, all of those. So the physics are definitely different. I'm hoping now that the Switch 2 is out and it has the hardware, has the gumption to be able to handle that, has the RAM, has the speed, everything has run better on the Switch 2. Pinball FX included. The biggest thing right now is the resolution. It doesn't look very good. You know, I typically scale up 1080p on my 4K monitor in front of me. I have a 32-inch. It looks pretty cruddy when you zoom it out. I'm hoping that they can give it a resolution jump, and they can start to lock in some better FPS on Switch 2. And I'm hoping that that physics engine actually comes across. Hopefully it's a 1-to-1 swap, because if there's any conversion from the consoles to the Switch version, then it's going to be more of a pain. That they probably just won't do it. They'll probably just say, hey, we'll just keep it as is. Physics engines differences might be the reason why the Magic Pixel can do the actual 4K. Yeah, I think so too. And you know, they have to dumb down the physics, but they can keep it in 4K. And they probably made that. I think that they probably made that a decision, quite frankly. They figured, well, if we can keep the resolution, we can keep the FPS, that's enough. We'll sell it as is. We don't have to change the physics engine. It'll be slightly different, and it is what it is. The rocket ship is still powerful enough. Less lag. Yeah, dude, man. A lot with that rocket ship. You know, I'm kind of disappointed. The 4KP, you feel like this thing should be stronger than it is hardware-wise, and to hear that we're still having hardware issues, it's kind of disappointing. I think we're all disappointed with that. I think we all expected Zen tables to be 4K every single time. That has not been the case. We've seen, was it Theater Magic that's only like 1260p? I think Papa Brad mentioned in one of his videos. It's like 1260p. Totan, I think, was like 1440. So we've definitely getting some downgrades in resolution there. They're better than 1080p, but they're not anywhere near 4K. So I don't know. There's definitely some issues there that they're going to iron out. So let me look back. One more thing here. Good conversations to have, man. You know, we've had this whole week, I think we've all been like, man, we're going to get some more games. We just don't know when. We don't know what. Obviously, the Zen Pinball Bites is coming up. We're all excited about that. That's good. It's given us hope. It's the one thing it's really given us is hope. But the one thing that I'm really upset about right now is the fact that there are still broken games on this system. At Games and Zen, even the Zen titles, even Zen tables right now are having trouble getting patches. Well, we've seen the music patch that we got for Jurassic Park, but they didn't fix any of the physics on that table. For example, Jurassic Park World. If you go into the Zen Pinball Discord, there is a place where you can actually tell them about the bugs of the tables for At Game systems, which I specifically asked them to open up a channel for At Games. They were happy to do it. They ran. We've mentioned that the Raptors when you do the selectable choice for Pinball World, the Raptor mission, the very first mission of the game, where you try to feed the Raptors the ball, they do not swallow the stupid pinball worth a damn, and it's kind of game breaking. So you have to choose random missions or selectable missions, and then you don't have to do them in order to be able to get away from that. So it's really disappointing. There's some stuff there that we're not getting those patches. Newbie to Steam, but I have the option, Pinball Wizard here, for an arcade or simulation. Arcade seems to be the bouncy physics. Simulation is so much better. I think At Games uses the arcade physics more or less. Yes. And you'll see that I don't know if you play Switch at all, Pinball Wizard, but if you play the Switch versions, you'll get almost a 1-to-1 representation of 4KP to the Switch. So, yeah, if you're trying to play Steam on a Legion Go or on your PC, or if you have a ROG Ally X or something like that, and you're trying to play these tables, they're gonna play differently. And when you switch between the two of them, you will have to acclimate a little bit. There will be some changes there. So it's usually the weight of the ball. It's the captures just don't feel the same, and there's a reason for that. So you need the new 144 hertz 4KP 60 hertz. We all do, man. Problem is, what would they charge for that? They would charge $3,000 for that one. So next you're gonna say you want a 4KP OLED. Come on, man. Like, you know how much that would be? Like $5,000. It's crazy. So we want to see this stuff. I think it's coming. I'm really interested to see what happens on Thursday. They're talking about Williams tables. They're talking about new VR features. They're not talking about Switch 2 updates. They're not talking about anything else. So I think we need to temper our expectations just a little bit and say, hey, they're going to give us 3 VR tables. We know that for sure. We're going to get some VR pinball updates. I'm hoping that the X Arcade, at the very least, I hope that they allow to do nudging on both sticks, so that the left one can do your left nudges, the right stick can maybe do your right nudges. I would like them to use the sticks for plunging. I know the haptics kit is coming. I want one too, but for the people who don't plan on getting the haptics kit, I think they need to provide a solution for that. So that would be really fantastic. The 4KP has gone way up in price. It really has. When I bought mine, I think I paid $2,200, and I did that because I had financing. So it was basically $2,000 price. I got the Ultimate Edition or whatever it is for the games, or for the Attack from Mars version. So I had the topper. I had all the external applications, obviously, for VPX and stuff like that, OTG. I had the sound effects kit already pre-installed, all of that stuff. So Pinball M updates, dude, they got to do something with that. Pinball M is on just feels like it's on fumes right now. I hope that they're going to give some more tables to that. I was hoping that maybe the Bethesda tables would come to Pinball M directly. Just slide them over, drop them in. I think that might still happen. Then they could juice up Doom or some of those. No, you can't regret getting the 4KP. It's still the best purchase I've ever made, quite frankly. And that includes the VR. It includes, I got the Ultimate Legends Mini. I think it's great. I'm more of a pinball guy than an arcade guy any day. Like button you freeloaders. Thanks, Leon. So yeah, man, there's some definitely things to do. I hope that if you guys are watching, if you're not already subscribed to this channel, please consider that. I mean, I'm gonna try to start doing this a little more frequently. I'm hoping to do it weekly. If we start getting some more releases, that would be fantastic. We can actually talk about them. But man, I tell you what, man, there's a lot to be encouraged about this week. You have to be excited. Pinball FX doing more this week is going to be fantastic. I do think we're gonna finally get a break. Monday, I think we're finally going to hear about Magic Pixel tables dropping. They might wait till August at this point and wait till next week. I'm hoping that's not the case. I hope they spoon feed us one of them. I'd love to get Supersonic Deluxe. Selfishly, I would just love to see that. But what I think could happen is that they'll probably give us, I'm hoping that they'll announce one on Wednesday that we're going to get one, or they'll announce Monday that we'll get a game on Wednesday. Maybe that's Wildlands, because that was supposed to come out first, and then we'll get Supersonic Deluxe maybe the week after. We'll see. I will say I hope that they do away with the calendars completely. We don't care. I don't care what Flipper Friends is. I don't care when the games come out. Just tell me what games I'm supposed to play on Thursday night to play Friday. Just tell me that. I don't want to see a calendar. I think we've all got sick of the calendars. They're never right. They update. I used to be able to print that sucker out 3 months in advance. I had the entire season of the Flipper Friends, and I could go through and I could mark off what games I was excited for. You can't do that anymore. So I tell you what, man. it's something that they got to do away with. The marketing for the 4KP has been suffering. They already on their games on their Facebook site, they don't even allow comments because of the negativity they've got. I think they'd do a lot better if they just said, "Hey, we're coming out with this game. We're gonna shadow drop everything. We're gonna shadow drop a Zen table. We're gonna shadow drop a Magic Pixel table. And hey, you're gonna like it, and you're gonna probably buy it on your HD. You're probably gonna buy it on your 4K, and you're gonna be happy about it." But if you knew it was coming out 3 months, 6 months, 8 months ago, like we did for the rare pack, and we didn't get it, you'd be upset. So they got exactly what they thought. And now, you people in the chat, let me ask you this question. Now that you've had Killer Instinct, and you've had Battletoads, and you've had Sea of Thieves, are you happy with them? Now that you've got past the disgust and hatred that they were delayed, and you played them for a month now, what do you think of them? Do you go back to them? Do you play them? Or did they just disappear into the ether of pinball games? Something I had to ask, because it's just something that we all, I don't think anybody was happy with. Maybe a few people were happy with Battletoads. They were happy with Killer Instinct. But a lot of people had a lot of disdain for those games even coming out. You still only like Sea of Thieves. I'm the same way, Papa Brad. Sea of Thieves is one of the best Magic Pixel tables that I've played. I still love it. It's still one of my favorites. I'm not a big fan of Killer Instinct, even though I love the startup music on that. You could just turn that game on and just let it run. It sounds so good. Love that theme music. And then when you're playing the game, it's only the full gore music, which is disappointing. I'd love to see that transition. Or there's so many things they could have done better. I know Yo Retro talked about it as well. His show, Chaotic BPR's show on Thursday nights. When they actually release games, they do a Yo Retro show. So I'll take the location. I'll take the weekly show where we talk about all the crap we want instead of the stuff we're actually getting. So, I don't know. We'll see, man. Huge swing and a miss. I have them both on the HD and the 4KP. Great pack and worth the money. Sea of Thieves is worth $25 easily by itself. Pinball Wizard, I completely agree. Most people will probably not agree with us on that. The Sea of Thieves is worth that, but I absolutely adore that game. I have no affiliation with Sea of Thieves. I never played the game. I had no idea what it was about. That table, they went all out for that table. They obviously had a skin for that, so I felt like they had to do something well for Microsoft for that release, for that IP. They nailed it. I think they nailed it. Between the sea battles, the fact that the Kraken comes out of the water, even though it doesn't, graphically it's not fantastic. You don't have ripples in the water and all that stuff, but man, if you can go back and look at that table now, it kills. I mean, it reminds me so much of Dinosaur Dynasty 2 or Nature's Fury with all the additional graphics and different stuff. The dynamic lighting that's going on. Battletoads and Killer Instinct, you feel like, I don't know what happened with those, quite frankly. I know Chaotic BPR had mentioned that when he was working for At Games that they made some cosmetic changes and they had to have approvals and things like that. That's the same exact thing that we heard from Zen with approvals and making sure that their IP is treated properly and all that. There's always going to be those issues. Whereas, Sea of Thieves, they had to hit that release date in December for that skin to be released, and that's why that one released so early. They tried to do Zen-like animations and failed big time. Yeah, I think that's a good point. They tried to do what they could with the IPs. I will say, if you've been paying attention, people, if you've been playing the Zachariah deluxe releases that have been coming out on Zen or on Steam, they look fantastic. It's kind of started with Tropical and Black Belt Deluxe. You had Tropical, Clown release. Clown Deluxe looks terrible. That one I'm not a big fan of. But the Granada that came out this week, has anybody looked at Granada? That one looks fantastic. So definitely, even if you're not buying those games on Steam, I highly recommend downloading Steam, installing Zachariah Pinball just to play the demos, just to do the fly cams of these tables. The rules sets are in there. You can look at them. You can play them with a keyboard really easily, just with a couple of shift buttons. There's some really good games there. Magic Castle Deluxe is awesome. Star God Deluxe is awesome. It kind of looks like a D&D type of game. I already mentioned the Supersonic Deluxe. I love that one. It's all about the combos and multipliers. There's some really fantastic games coming. Please be patient, folks. They are coming. And the HD folks are going to be happy too. I mean, they're all coming to the HD system. And I'll be playing them on Micro. I bought a few on there. I bought Moonflight on that. And I love that game. I have Black Belt Deluxe on that system. I typically take my Micro to work. And we do kind of events there. And I'll just say, hey, I'll give $20 to whoever gets the best score for this table this week. So there's some good tables on there, and they're coming, man. They're coming. Yeah, buy them now. The price is going up. Boy, yeah, the price keeps going up on digital stuff, and it's a bummer. But and I'm really shocked that the prices of the Zen tables haven't gone up yet. They've kept them pretty consistently, $5 and $15 for 2 packs, or for even 3 packs at times. I was shocked when they released Medieval Madness, Getaway, and Junkyard for $15. I mean, whose mind didn't explode when that happened? Mexico Deluxe, that's another one. Yes, I just played Mexico Deluxe too, and that it kind of does the the Day of the Dead theme. It's great. It's a great game. So definitely check them out, and they look fantastic in VR. They actually do. In fact, Meatball, I think they look better than the Zen pinball releases. If you play them on a reasonably decent PC with good settings like I got, I have a 3070 Ti. It's not a powerhouse, but it's a good PC. The Zachariah Pinball releases in VR actually look better than the Pinball FX VR games. The materials, it's all about the materials and the dynamic lighting. They just look so good. They look so good. I don't know what it is, but the metals in particular just have a crispness to that you just don't get in the Pinball FX. Now, that might be from limitations of the MetaQuest, maybe, because we don't have a Steam release to compare to. Maybe that's something that we'll see. Again, the interview that they talked about, where Mel talked about VR 8 months ago, he had already said then and there that FX3 or MetaQuest 3 was basically a timed exclusive. I think he pretty much dropped that out and just said, hey, we're coming to MetaQuest 3 first, was his words. So you have to believe it's going to come to PSVR 2. You figure it's going to come to Steam VR, right? It's going to happen. Why would you segment that base, right? So I just don't see it happening. I think it's going to happen at some point. This is the first price hike for the Platinum and the other packs in 4 years. That's crazy when you think about it that way. You're absolutely right. It's been a hot minute, and you got to figure those prices are going to go up at some point. So, but man, I tell you what, man, we have a lot to look forward to. I will try to do another one of these videos next week. I will decide. Depending on the Pinball Bites, I might do a first impressions right after that the video. I think it's 1:00 Eastern time, I believe, for Pinball Bites. So if I do it maybe 4:00 or something like that, we'll see if I can do it live. But I would love to do it live. But we'll see. I'll be working from home that day. I do get an oil change with my car. Hopefully everything's done. I should not have planned that for that day. But it is what it is. But thank you guys all for showing up. This was a much better response than I expected, quite frankly. This chat, I'm looking at the chat now and I'm just blown away with the response. Thank you all for being here. I think this was a great chat about digital pinball. I want to keep it that way. If it's a different type of chat, it'll be a different channel. It'll be a different way to discuss it. But we've got plenty to talk about in this community. If you want to, if you cannot get enough of this conversation and want to have more, definitely check out the Discord right there. The Discord, we talk about this stuff all the time on my Discord. I've got pinball packs. We talk about VR. We talk about everything in there. We talk about VPX. We didn't even talk about VPX tonight all that much. So good stuff to bring into the foray. But thank you all for coming, and we will see you guys next time. Like I said, like I tend to say, you only need one ball for greatness. So keep plunging, guys, and we'll see you next time.
Retro Tech.